because there's a movement right now to crush and annihilate any truth tellers, anyone. You don't have to be conservative, libertarian, or Republican. Anyone who does not toe right up to the leftist line. If you dare move and cross that leftist line and start telling the truth about who they really are, you will become a target yourself. Where did this all start? I was preparing for today's show. It's usually a 24-hour exercise. Probably a little dramatic. 12 hours or so is probably more. You do have to sleep a little bit. But I saw an excellent social media post by, Logan from the Daily Caller. Sorry, I forget his last name. Price, is it? But a very good social media feed. And he brought up that, it's interesting that the left is in overdrive trying to crush conservative news sites, conservative Facebook pages, Parler, other outlets, that there are when we were the ones telling the truth. So the left's whole premise for trying to do this is that the conservatives are feeding misinformation that's inciting violence. I'll get to that in a minute, too, how they're using that, the weaponization of language. Great piece by Glenn Greenwald. Fantastic. I'll get to that in a minute. But the right, you guys are all promoting misinformation, disinformation, and violence. You need to be stopped. Yet we've been right about everything. Here's just a few stories. Some Logan had in there and some I'll throw in, too. You already know this. Conservative media, including this show, was right about the collusion hoax being, in fact, a hoax, which it was. We were right about Spygate. The president's campaign was spied on. We now have the name of the spy, the payments to the spy, how he spied, how he worked with the FBI, how the FBI acknowledged they were spying on the Trump campaign. But the left still continues to insist that's misinformation because they're morons and they're totalitarians. We were right about collusion, about Spygate. What about the WHO? It was conservative news outlets early on that were warning about the World Health Organization that, hey, maybe they're not telling the truth about this whole virus from Wuhan. It was conservative outlets. Remember, we were called, it's a conspiracy theory. Remember that? I have a whole chapter in my last book, Follow the Money, a whole chapter on the WHO debacle and how it was conservatives who were warning people. What about the hydroxychloroquine? Oh my gosh, it's the deadliest drug known to humankind, hydroxychloroquine. Really? There's no evidence of that. People in my family have been on that drug forever. In my family with zero side effects. Now all of a sudden you're starting to see some medical paperwork saying, maybe we were a little too harsh on that. Now? What about the COVID, the coronavirus? May have come out of a lab in Wuhan. Oh, you were called, it's a conspiracy theory. Remember that? Remember the leftist media? That's a big conspiracy theory. You're all lunatics. Now as the evidence mounts that that's a possibility, all of a sudden leftist media is like, oh, yeah, we need to, those conservatives we were going to ban. Yeah, still that's misinformation. Yeah, but they said that months ago. No. It was misinformation when they said it. But now when we say it, it's not misinformation. Yeah, but you're saying the same thing. Yeah, but we said it. We're leftists. We were right about the Hunter Biden story. Remember, that was a conspiracy theory. It was Russian disinformation until we found out after the election that, in fact, Hunter Biden has an active FBI case open up on him. Oh, now all of a sudden it's not misinformation. It was only misinformation when conservatives said it. What about the warnings about Andrew Cuomo up in New York? The lauded golden calf governor of New York, epic failure of a human being who we warned about months ago, if not close to a year ago, was doing a terrible job. Hat tip, by the way, Janice Dean from Fox from staying on top of him the entire time. Now we find out from people in the left-wing media who are forced to admit it, that Cuomo's government in New York may have underinflated and undercounted the massive number of tragic nursing home deaths in New York. Now all of a sudden, conservative media, the misinformation specialists who were calling Cuomo out months ago for misleading people, now all of a sudden we were right, but we're the misinformation specialists? Why? Why are they trying to crush us? Because they want a monopoly over ideas, and there's nothing been more dangerous to collectivists over time than ideas. Christianity, capitalism, democracy, and the free flow of information has crushed nearly every collectivist empire, or not right away, but over time in the history of humankind.